All right. As promised, I wanted to bring on one of the most amazing talents that I've ever seen when it comes to home renovation loans and rehab type of loans. And that is my friend Sandee Lutz with CrossCountry. She works for our corporate office. Sandee has been doing renovation transactions for 20 years. She's been with CrossCountry for 8 years. Oh, she's an expert in the field. When I have questions about renovation loans and I don't know the answer, she's my go-to person. Sandee, thanks for joining me on the Loan Arranger Show. How are you today?
Great. Thanks for having me, Bruce. I'm super excited to be here.
I'm super excited to have you. So I've got some questions to ask you for
Okay.
my listening audience, and I'd like to just knock some of those out. So the first question I have is, who's a renovation loan really for? Is it like for first-time home buyers, investors, move-up buyers? Do you already have to own a home, or can you purchase a home with it? Tell me a little bit about that.
So we have renovation loans for all of those people. It could be a first time home buyer. It could be a move up buyer. It could be somebody that wants to do a very small renovation, just like a new roof, or it could be somebody that needs a total gut job, right? They're going to redo everything. It could be for a home that's damaged from a hurricane that's maybe mid construction. We can take that on as well. We can do renovation loans for refinance too. Sometimes you just want to stay where you are, maybe add square footage or add an accessory dwelling unit, an ADU, those granny flats. We have programs for that right now, which is very popular in Florida. You guys want to buy those houses or rent those houses out via Airbnb to get you some monthly income coming in. So yeah, we have it for all. We have them for as investors as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to be your owner occupied residence.
I don't think there's a lot of lenders out there that have investor rehabs.
Sure, I
Yeah.
agree. It's true. It does need to be a single family residence, just so your investors know we don't have somebody that can buy a multi-unit, but we do have programs to help them buy and renovate a home that they're
Now, for
renting.
owner occupied, could they do a duplex if they own both sides, or is
Yep, up to 4 units. Yes,
up
owner
to four
occupied.
units, but
Yep,
only owner occupied?
correct. Yes,
Okay. And then second home. Now, you'll do a condo, correct? If the condo's on a Fannie Mae or FHA approved list,
absolutely.
or even VA?
VA as well.
Because I got a VA buyer right now buying in a condominium I'm working with Sandee on. So that one's next in the hopper. Number two question, is there any renovation loan options that require little or no money down? Or can it be paired with any type of down payment assistance or anything like that?
Great question. So down payment assistance is a no, unfortunately. We cannot couple the two, but we do have renovation loans conventionally for as little as 3% down. Your FHA is going to be 3.5, just like for you. And then we also have USDA and VA loans, which are 100% financing. There is no down payment requirement.
Okay, so let's just say I qualify for an FHA loan and the house is being sold as is for $300,000.
Yep.
And I want to redo the kitchen. It needs all new electrical. It's got the old electrical. It's got old plumbing. I want to do a bathroom. I want to put new floors in it. Can I do that on an FHA
Yep.
loan? So, well, wait a
Absolutely.
minute. So I got a $300,000 as is home and I have, say, $50,000 worth of work to be done. That can be done on an FHA loan,
Absolutely. You're going to get one big loan for $350,000.
but how do you appraise that then? Does it appraise as is and subject to completion?
No, so we're not going to get an as is at all. It really doesn't matter to us what the as is current value is. What we'll do is give your renovation plan to the appraiser. The appraiser will give us a future value based off of that renovation plan. And you're doing the stuff that does add value, the new kitchens, the new baths, the fun stuff. That's what appraisers like to see. And with
That
FHA, if you're worried about that value, I can go to 110% of it.
that's really interesting for people to know. What Sandee said is your house could actually appraise for 10% less than the full value and you could still get it done.
Yep.
So that's been the case for a long time, but the original FHA 203K loans, you had a as is value and then a subject to. They've done away with the as is value completely. Interesting.
Correct.
That's great stuff because it used to have to have at least appraised for the as is value. Number three question then. In today's market with limited inventory, okay, now we've switched because now we have a lot of inventory, but not limited. So it's going back and forth, and different areas of the country may have limited inventory. But let's just say that inventory tends to be the issue. How are renovation loans helping people in today's market?
Yeah, I think it opens up more possibilities for folks because they can look at things that maybe aren't so perfect, things that there's a lot of activity around. You've got those strong conventional buyers or cash buyers in your market because you guys have so many of those. This just opens up opportunity for first time home buyers, for move up buyers, for hurricane damaged homes. They can be mid construction. That's a big deal. They rip everything out and then you can't get a regular loan on it. You can't get a conventional loan on that.
You can't get a construction perm, and you can't get a construction perm loan if the house is already started, but you can on a renovation.
Absolutely. It can be
Look
down
at
to
that.
those amounts.
We're opening up opportunities. And you know what else I see with this, Sandee, is that let's just say you want to be in a certain community because maybe you have kids and the in-laws are down the street and you want to be in that community, but there's nothing available but this little dumpy house and it just needs so much work. And you're just like, I don't have the money to fix it up.
Yep.
That's an opportunity to buy that home as is and include all the renovation in it.
Yeah, you could take your 2-1 and turn it into a 3-2. That added square footage is what that appraiser is going to use for value. It's perfect for that exact situation. And we see that a lot because
And are there limitations? Are there limitations on how much and what you can add on?
No, as long as it appraises, that's the trick. It's got to appraise. That appraiser isn't going to let them put the Taj Mahal up in the subdivision, right?
Of
But
course not.
that's where your realtor comes in, right? They're going to be able to say, hey, if this was a 3-2, it would be worth this. So then
Now, I know that conventional rehab loans limited you to a certain amount based on the as-is purchase price. Is that still the case?
No, you're thinking of the after improved value. So the most you can have in renovations with a conventional loan is 75% of the after improved value. If you put some simple numbers to that, that is 300 in total renovation to a $400,000 sale price. It's not really limiting anymore.
You're
The
not going to
FHA
have any
doesn't
problem with
any-
that.
No, we never
That's
run into.
great.
Yep.
And we're still doing FHA streamlines and traditional, correct?
Yes, FHA limited and standards, and the limited has moved to 75,000. It used to be 35, so that's a big
No
jump.
way.
Yep.
That's a
Just moved.
huge benefit. Now, you
Yep.
cannot do structural. You're not doing additions on that, correct? It's only renovations.
For the limited. If you
For
want
the
to do
limited.
additions, you want to add an ADU.
You're doing
you
it
do that.
traditional.
You go with the standard. Exactly.
That's
So you can
correct.
do both.
Okay. Beautiful. Number 4, what kind of upgrades can be financed, and can these loans increase a home's future value and equity position?
Yeah, so you can do anything. You can go from simple outside stuff, right? You want new siding, new windows, new landscaping, new cement, curb appeal, right? So you're trying to be the fancy house on the street. You can do all of that. You can do anything inside as far as upgrades to your kitchen, your bathrooms, your flooring, and you can do all your HVAC stuff, your electrical, your plumbing. So there is nothing that's not allowed with a renovation loan. I have taken raccoons out of an attic. I've taken a bee's nest out of a window.
I
Environmental
finance
issues.
that? Do you mean I'm financing
Absolutely.
raccoon removal?
Yeah, termite damage
Okay.
can be financed.
I'm not going to
No,
let,
nothing's
I don't
off
want
the
my
table.
underwriter to hear this. Okay. My underwriter can't hear that. Okay. All right.
My underwriters know how to do it.
So we've got all kinds of upgrades. Your imagination is basically what you're telling me you can do, provided the home still conforms to the neighborhood. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. Number 5, what
Okay.
advice would you give to someone who's never managed a renovation transaction before, and what common pitfalls might they have?
The thing that I would say most, first and foremost, is work with a renovation specialist. I cannot tell you how important I think that is. Bruce, you've been doing this for a long time, right? But coming at you with a renovation loan, you come to me because you need my help. Just work with
Right.
somebody that knows what they're doing, number one. Number two, choose wisely with your contractor. If he doesn't show up, if he doesn't turn around the bid like he said he was going to, or he doesn't return calls, go on to the next guy. There's good
You
contracts.
know,
There's
I'm so glad you
departments.
brought that up. I'm so
Yeah,
glad, Sandy, that you brought that up because if you don't have a good contractor, you're going to run into problems. And it's just like dating. If the first date doesn't go that well, the rest of them are probably going to go worse. So ditch
absolutely.
it and move on to somebody that's more reputable. Are we able to supply names for people or is that something we stay away from?
We try and stay away. We don't want to have a liability issue there. But think about it. If you're just doing a new roof, Joe and his truck is fine. Joe can handle the roof, right? We're going to give him upfront money. He's going to do
Just the roofing contractor? If I'm just
You
doing a
could.
roof, do I have to have a
Yes.
general contractor as well?
Nope. You could use a roofing contractor if you're just doing a roof. Absolutely.
But if you're
But if
doing
you're doing a
multiple
full
trades,
roof
you
job, get a good GC. Get
yeah.
somebody that can handle the project. And then the other thing
Well,
that I would recommend is about the
yes.
draws. So it blows my mind that some companies sell these loans to third parties once they close. So you're working with me the
Wait a
whole
minute.
time.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
You're telling me that some lenders that do renovation loans, after they've closed it, they pass it on to somebody else?
exactly. So now that's a new person, isn't familiar with your process, isn't familiar with your scope of work, has not met your contractor, all of a sudden has to do the draws. We don't do that. Here at Cross Country, I think we have the best platform. I've been doing this for a long, long time. I've been here 8 years. We know how to get you to the closing table and we know how to take care of you after that. You're going to meet your draw person before we even close. We're going to get everybody on the phone and we're going to go through everything so the contractor understands. You understand. You've met the person you're going to be dealing with. There's no surprises. And that's how you want it to go. You want it to go very smoothly.
Beautiful. All right. I've only got 30 seconds left. So can you do self-help and do it yourself, or do you have to have a contractor?
No, you have to have a contractor. No self help is allowed. Sorry.
Nothing but problems with self-help. So
Absolutely.
listen,
Nothing but
folks,
problems.
first of all, I want to thank Sandy for joining me on the Lone Ranger Radio Show. If you have any interest in purchasing a home or renovating an existing home, you call us. We have everything that you need to be able to accommodate your needs. When we come back, I want to spend some time with my friend Brandon Rhymes in Tampa, and he's going to give us a complete update on what's going on in the market today. Thank you again, Sandee Lutz, CrossCountry Mortgage, for helping me and my listeners understand renovation and rehab loans. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Bruce. Talk to you soon.